Hello, everybody. I saw this article a few months ago, about 2, 3 months ago. It come out on YouTube before, and I wanted to cover it myself because I was just completely flabbergasted by this complete and total shit. It is nonsense that a useless magazine like this would put out this rubbish about the way in which women are paid. The big salary reveal. 12 real people discover what the pay gap looks like. So what it really is it's talking about is, for instance, these two people here. He's getting 62 grand. She's getting 41 grand. Now, apparently, Eric and Kylie, or whatever her name is, both are graphic designers. They work in similar jobs at different companies. Not the same company, different companies. I shall continue. But this salary is 25,000 higher. I think I deserve more, she says. The fucking point is, you don't work at the same company. You both work at different companies. So, what does that mean? If you had worked at his company, you may have got 62,000 and 500,000, and he may have got 41,000. Did you negotiate your price, your pay, when you went to work for your firm? Obviously not. Maybe he negotiated his pay because he had big balls and got 62 grand. But this is the thing that annoys me. That they're making out as if there's discrimination there. But these two people work at totally different companies. Let's continue. And this is, they talk shit about as snow turned to slush on Saturday in late December, 12 strangers gathered at Glamour's office to take on a loaded issue, the gender pay gap. For 2 decades, Glamour's salary survey has looked at what women in various fields earn across the country. But on this 20th anniversary, we wanted to see how women's pay compares to men. Are women really lagging behind? Complete bollocks. So we asked 12 gutsy women and men in similar jobs with similar titles and levels of experience to come clean about their earnings. Guys, listen, man. Listen, let me give you some advice. If anybody comes to you asking how much you earn, especially women, tell them clearly to their face to fuck off. It's none of your business. Because I get there's a feeling there are women that are going out of their way to see what other guys are earning in the companies that they work for. There is. I mean, there was a woman I saw on a TV show on Sky. Apparently, they both went in. They were working for a publishing company, and they both went in at the same time. And apparently, she said, she found out that the other guy who came in with the same qualification and title, etc., was earning, I think, £2,000 more than her after a year of being in position. So she apparently found out, in other words, she was poking her nose around all the time to find out what this guy was earning. When she found out that that's what he got for his, for a rise after the first year, she went storming into the managing director, or whatever it was, the office managing director or the manager, and said, "Wait, how come he suddenly got a pay rise for 2.5 grand?" And the guy clearly said to him, "Because he asked." That's one. His performance was up to scratch. And so he asked for more pay. It, so in other words, he did what a lot of men do, which if they feel that they're worth more than what they're getting paid, they go to the manager, sit down and have a discussion. I want more pay. And usually a lot of the time, they're told to take a hike. But, if they're showing the performance and they're bringing in, they're bringing in the business for the company, then they're more than likely will give them more money. But that's up to them. That's the negotiation between them. The job that she went for was a negotiated pay anyway. But they did bring them on the same level. And what happens? Because he asked, he went and asked. But she didn't. Because she's assuming that she should be given that pay regardless. There are some jobs that you go into where if especially, I don't know, freelance, or you go into that job, you have to negotiate your pay. Now, if women haven't got the balls to really put down and say, I want 75 grand, 80 grand, then that's your problem. If you decide, let me go really low, then perhaps I'm likely to get the job. That's your business. So you get all this, there are some women who shy and don't go in at the price that they should be for what they're worth. I don't care about that. That's your problem. And you need to grow bigger balls when you go for a job interview. A job interview is a scary business in the first place. So you have to prepare yourself for job interviews. You have to have confidence when you go for job interviews. And if you're not able to really put down what you really want when you go for this job interview, especially if it's well over the 50, 60 grand type of wages, then maybe you shouldn't be doing that job anyway. You're too tame for the job. But anyway, let's continue with this. So we asked Gutsy, we already done, to come clean about their wages. And as I told you before, men, if a woman comes to you and asks you roughly how much you're earning, tell her to piss off and don't be so rude. It's none of your business. You shouldn't be asking what other people are getting paid. That's what women do. They go around trying to find out what men are earning. Okay, and that's not on. Keep to your business. It isn't easy. Most Americans would rather reveal their sex secrets than their wages. But we found 6 pairs willing to be brave. 2 software engineers, 2 data analysts, 2 social media managers working in public relations, a duo in sales, a couple of cashiers, and a pair of graphic designers. It's funny. Why didn't they find a woman and a guy working in a sewer, sewer engineers, or maybe there are women working on building sites. Why didn't they look for women on building sites? Or maybe women who are working out in the North Sea oil, area. Maybe there aren't any women there. I'm sure there are some who do the cooks who go out to North Sea oil and prepare meals. Or maybe it's all male. I don't know. If you look at these jobs, all these jobs are really what I would class as soft jobs. 2 software engineers, 2 data analysts. These are the kind of jobs that women go for all the time anyway. 2 social media managers in public relations, sales, cashiers, graphic designers, all soft jobs. All the participants wrote their salaries on large cards. Then we asked each pair on the count of 3 to flip over the card. So this is the nonsense and this is what you're seeing here. That's what they're showing their salary. So the girl on the right, the left, is looking mightily pissed. Okay, and the geezer on there is he's fairly satisfied. Good. So let's scroll down. Here we go. This is the thing. Boom, said Simi, a sales executive, when she saw her counterpart's salary. Now I'll tell you that Simi is a Nigerian, a girl, nasty piece of work from Nigeria. She's a Nigerian-born girl who comes to America. There's a video of it, and maybe we'll come to that. Anyway, Kylie's mouth froze for a split second before she laughed. Rose looked like she'd been punched in the face. In the silence afterward, you could feel the tension. Now, who the fuck is this name? Neural. Oh, Jesus Christ. One of the data analysts looked around at the cards. Almost all of us women, she remembers thinking, have the lower salary. So what? But you all work in different firms. Okay? Let's continue. That may not be a huge surprise. The so-called gender wage gap has been making headlines for 50 years. Corporate companies like Apple, IBM, have pledged to address it. Ivanka Trump at the Republican National Convention even promised to fight for equal pay. The statistics widely cited is that women earn only 82 cents to a man's dollar. Oh God, here we go. I thought Obama said it was 77 cents to the dollar. Now we're hearing it's 82 cents to the dollar. And that was only recently. So something's changed. By the way, Asian women earn 89 cents to the dollar. A discrepancy that would make anyone angry. Nope. Doesn't make me angry. Doesn't make me angry because there's various variables in there that will show the reason why some women are paid less. Well, they don't even work for the same firm, so I don't know what that reason is. Maybe when they went in for the job interview, they didn't negotiate their pay. They just went in and took whatever pay they were given. That's your problem. If you're going to be a child and you can't stand up for yourself, you deserve whatever pay you're going to get. Okay, let's continue. But when you are looking at the black and white members of your salary but when you are looking at the black and white numbers of your salary compared to a man's, as our volunteers did, this policy issue became suddenly very personal. Did you know that apparently Latino men get paid lower than white women? Something like 60, was it 60 cents to the dollar, maybe even less than black women are. I think black women are 59 cents. Latino men are lower than that. Has anybody complained about that? Is anybody saying anything about that? Has anyone opened their gob about that? No. It's always about women. Always about women. Let's continue. Back to that 82 cents. Some critics of the whole pay gap idea argue that the figure is misleading. Absolutely bloody correct. And they have a point. It means simply that when you take the mean annual earnings of Americans working full-time, women make only 82% of what men do, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. But that overarching average doesn't amount for the number of hours on the job, education, experience, the fact that women tend to work in lower paying fields, and all kinds of other particulars that impact a person's salary. In other words, men, for instance, work far more overtime than women do. Men, and they're willing to. There's a lot of women not willing to work overtime. Not all women, but a good proportion, because they have children, and they want to get home. They have, and things like that. The fact, the fact that 93% of workplace deaths, let me repeat that figure to you, 93% of workplace deaths are men. So while men are getting that little bit extra, that money, supposedly, illegally, from women, taking money away from women, they're dying on the job. 93% of men are dying in the workplace. 93% of workplace fatalities are men. Nobody ever picks up on that. Nobody ever picks up on that. Right. I forgot where I was. Here we go. Some liberals are using the statistic. No, that's no. But the overarching average amount doesn't account for the number of hours on the job, education, experience, the fact that women tend to work in lower paying fields, and all kinds of other particulars that impact a person's salary. Some liberals are using this statistic to get across their political agenda of more regulation in the workplace, charges one of the critics. Karine Angelson Lips. Jesus Christ. Founder of the Network of Enlightened Women. Jesus Christ. I wouldn't be surprised if they're part of the Illuminati. A group that promotes conservative ideas on college campuses. Okay. Let me just try and... Okay. All right, I'll take that back a little because she's conservative. So she said some liberals are using this statistic to get across their political agenda of more regulation in the workplace. Charges one of the critics. Okay, all right, fine. All right, I'll take that back. So, all right, so let's continue. Yet, a number of detailed studies have recently proven there are glaring discrepancies in many occupations, especially in high-paying, male-dominated fields like finance, insurance, and medicine. One report in the Journal of Medical Association found that female doctors in public medical schools with the same experience, volume of patients, and number of papers published made 20 grand or 8% less than per year than their male counterparts. Other research looking into across professions have found differences ranging from 9% to 20%. Listen, when you're talking about doctors and involving the patients, maybe remember, doctors in general do a lot of overtime. Are these women married? Are they single? I mean, if they're single and they don't have any kids, they don't have any responsibility to anybody, and they're fairly young, 20s, 25, or whatever it is, and over, if they're getting 8% or 20% less, that is wrong. But if they're doing less overtime and the guys are doing more overtime, and that's the discrepancy. Again, they haven't really said. They've just looked across. It just says here, found that female doctors at public medical schools with the same experience, volume of patients, and number of papers published made 20 grand less. There's more to it, and they're not wanting to go deeper into it. Other research looking across professions has found differences ranging from 9 to 2%. And just 2% can translate into a huge financial setback. For a woman earning today's average wage, it would result in $59,000 in lost earnings over the course of her career, not to mention lower retirement and social security benefits. Even Lips agrees we all want equal pay for women. But she says we all want equal pay for women. So how do we get there? So what you're saying is this: if a woman takes time off to have a baby and she decides to take 5 years off, are you saying that she should be able to come back into that position? What happens if another woman has taken that position? Do you get rid of that woman so she can come back into work, so she can carry on from where she goes? 5 years down the line, remember, she's had a child, schooled it, and then she wants to come back to work because the child can go to school after 5 years. Is she supposed to take over that job that maybe another woman, a younger woman, has taken over? She doesn't have any children. Or are they saying that women should be paid for the time that they're off looking after you by the company? I think you are mentally ill if you think that. Let's continue. Let's continue. These people are nutcases. They are. Okay. Who makes more? Because the factors that go into a person's salary are complicated. They themselves stated it's complicated. Glamour worked with Jamie Clockley, managing director of Betts Recruiting, one of the top-rated head-hunting firms in New York City, to help us assess our pairs. Without meeting, this is a woman. There you go. Well, I knew it was a woman because I've seen this before. But Jamie, Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Jamie's a bit of feminine. I say feminine. It's like Julian's. I don't like the word. I don't like the word name Julian, but it does. It's close to Julia. Julian. But people call me, my name's Julius. Yeah, it's Julie. I get called Julie. Anyway, that's nonsense. Let's continue. She drilled down to the details of each participant's LinkedIn profile. Well, so you're going through the LinkedIn profile. Why? They may not have put everything down on that profile to say what she or he should make. A recruiter's favourite game, Crockley says. To be clear, although our pairs have similar professional backgrounds and jobs in the same geographical area, they are in no way a scientific sample. So what's the... this is just nonsense then, isn't it? All you're doing in bringing this out is making a lot of women there who read your shitty, useless magazine angry. Also, Glamour has no reason to believe that any pay discrepancy exists between men and women at the separate companies they work for. So in other words, listen to this, people. Glamour has no reason to believe that there is any pay discrepancy exists between men and women at the separate companies they work for. So in other words, that girl who you saw at the top where we saw before, let me take you up to there. There you go. The company that she works for, in other words, may be paying a man the same wage of 41 grand. So what's the problem? Maybe she should apply where this guy's working, and then she could get the same pay as him. This is the thing about this this thing. It's just nonsense. It's all rubbish. It's all rubbish. They themselves, Glamour here, say Glamour has no reason to believe that any pay discrepancy between, because it wouldn't be allowed. She works for a different firm. The other guy works for a different firm. But if a man in the same firm as her is getting the same wage of 41 grand, what is the problem? None. Clocklet started with Eric, 28, and Kylie, 25. So this guy is already 2 years older than her. So he's got 3 years more experience than she has. Graphic designers in marketing for different media companies. Cloakley, I can't pronounce the name, I'll just say Cock, guessed that Eric was making more because of tenure and the fact that he graduated 2 years before her. Right, she's right. But when we shared the actual numbers, Eric's 62 grand, hers 40,000. Cock was taken aback. Kylie's seemed really low, she said. She may be just underpaid. Well, if you were, look, we also don't know where she lives in comparison to where he lives. They didn't, they live probably different parts of the US, where the area where she's working, the company just can only afford to pay her that amount of money, along with other staff. Whereas where she's working, it's like if you go and work in the city of London, you're going to get a much higher wage there than if you go and work in, say, Manchester. So you might have exactly the same qualifications, everything, including the kitchen sink. Yet if you work in London, there is a thing called you get paid about. Well, when I worked for my firm, I got paid 2.5 grand. Was it 2.5 grand? No, I think it was 250. I can't even remember. London waiting, it was called. There's different various monies that come through it, but we got much more from London waiting because we worked in London. London is a much more expensive place to live and work than if you work outside of London. You go to Birmingham, you go to Manchester. Someone sold a house. In Westminster. I was doing a job, and the guy told me he paid £500,000 for a 2-bedroom ex-council flat. Jesus, the guy did the place up really, really nice. He was obviously earning some really good money. Very clever guy. Didn't have a degree because he just didn't value a degree. He didn't want to waste his. He said I didn't want to waste his time with that. And yet he was only 32. So he'd been in work for a number of years, and he was able to. And he said he was just finished off paying the mortgage. So that place is now his. Which is great. I'm really happy for the guy. Because if the guy wanted to sell that place and go to, say, Birmingham or even Manchester, what he'd get for 500 grand? Whoa! He'd get a castle, literally. Well, similar anyway. Okay, let's have a quick look at the video. Fair use, if we can. Shame. It's really annoying when your videos don't run. Okay. Hold on a minute. Yeah, they're probably barring. Hold on a minute. Let me just see. I'll just switch this off. Maybe. So it might. No, it doesn't run, unfortunately. Okay. So let's continue. Next, this woman reviewed Lisa, 24, and Joseph, 25. Okay, here we go. Software engineers at investment-related companies. Her prediction: She went to an Ivy League, the woman said. I would vote that she makes more. Actually, Jason does. He's on 120 grand. Talisa's 150 grand. A salary she got only after negotiating up from an original offer of 180 grand. More on negotiating later. So look, fine. I mean, she negotiated. I mean, maybe if she negotiated even further, she could have pushed it up to 40 grand or 35 grand or get that extra 25 grand. So what? Again, where does she live? Where does this Jason live? Maybe he lives in an area that's much more expensive. Maybe she lives in a less expensive area. What is the problem? She's getting 115 grand a year. Yet they're still bitching. These companies, are they owned by men? Why should men pay women more? I'm just getting really angry about this. Why don't you set up your own business? Bite the bullet. You're getting 115 grand. Stay there for 4 or 5 years. When you're getting enough money, set up your own software business until the boss to piss off. Then you can pay yourself £1 million if your business earns that kind of money. God, these are two people work for two separate companies. We don't know where. They didn't give us where they work. Let's continue. Cock moved on to Danilo, 35, and Rose, 46, both responsible for media relations. So this geezer, he's 11 years younger, fine. He at an energy utility, and she for tech clients at the PR agency where she's a senior account specialist. So you see, look, one is an energy utility company, the other one is a tech client. Now, I don't know. Maybe the energy company is huge. These guys are huge, even bigger than some of these tech companies. We don't know the size of the tech company. We don't know the size of the energy company. Okay, here we go. Just because of her 5 years at IBM and 2 years at AC Technologies, I would argue she makes a lot more, said Cock. But I'm scared to hear your answer. And here it is. Rose makes 70 grand and Danilo is 114 grand. Okay. But okay, what's her qualifications? What's his qualifications? She's 46. Maybe she's had a couple of kids. And so she's having to come back in again. We just don't know. And so this woman is obviously, you may be onto something. This is just 12 people. And she's now starting to think, there's definitely a gender issue and all this kind of nonsense. And finally, the data analyst. Now, I can't pronounce this name. You just have to do it yourself. 31. Julian, 36. She's at a financial services company and he works in the social media space. Okay. Cock pointed to a number of reasons: experience, education, company tenure, senior title. Why, whoever the name is, I think this is the woman. And it's funny, it's an Asian, looks like an Asian woman. Or is she a Mexican? Anyway, Asian woman, and the guy looks Asian to me from here, should be making the higher salary. Again, no. Her 98 grand is 7 grand short of Julian's of 105. What? The bloody cock said. She has her master's. She worked in a year in Malaysia. Again, you don't know where their offices are. You don't know where they're living. She may be living. I mean, again, this woman's from Malaysia, so she might not be living in, I don't know, a part of America where or where she's living could be, you know, I don't know, slightly run down area for, and where she's working for is not paying that high. That's just how it is. This is really, I think this is a shitty survey. I really, really do. Because what I find interesting about this, why didn't they get the same people working for the same company to see if this is correct? That would have been, so this woman here you can see in the pink, there are other people who are earning or similar to her, another man. Well, the same. Now, if they'd have got two for the same company, then this would have been, yes, I understand. But I don't know where this guy lives. You don't know how maybe the extra money that he's getting is for travel. Maybe he has to travel further. We just don't know. There were two more pairs. One paid by the hour, with take-home pay about the same. And our last duo, the only case where the woman out-earned the man. This is making my blood boil. Why is this making your blood boil? As I said, you don't know where these people live and work. You don't know what their circumstances of why these, as I said, maybe the guys are working further. They don't work for the same companies. And this is only 12 people. Here we go. How the pay gap starts. You might look at someone like Lisa and think, she's 24, a software engineer with six-figure salary. What's the big deal if she earns $5,000 less than Joseph? Things will even out, right? Wrong. What do you mean wrong? You don't know that. The best knowledge we have now is that the man and the woman who graduate from the same class of university and go into the same field, the wage gap right out the door for her is 7%, says Irani, Program Director of Employment and Earnings at the Institute for Women's Policy Research, a Washington DC think tank. I'm going to put my thing to this. If this is the case for women, all right, women need to set up their own businesses, and for women only. Pure and simple. Do not employ any men. Employ women only. Because this is just, for me, this is complete and total bullshit. This really is. The most important thing for me is, where do these guys live? Whereabouts do they? I mean, they may get extra money above their wage for hospital benefits or this and that. Maybe the company she works for doesn't offer that. We just don't know. And also, men do push harder for their pay. They will continue to push harder, even if the interviews are two women. Men will push hard. They might get told to get lost, or no, thanks very much. But then they might suddenly get a thing in the post, they come and work for us for various reasons. I think this is real rubbish. This is real rubbish. And that disadvantage is likely to grow every time she changes jobs, because typically her new salary is based on her last one. But okay, so if she moves to another job, Say she's earning, I don't know, let's say a figure 50 grand. Why is she moving to another job? Is it because she's moved somewhere else and she needs a new job? She then goes and applies for the job. Is she not going to go for a higher paying job and say, I want 60 grand, 65 grand, especially if you're negotiating your pay? You've got experience. So you go for the highest you possibly can. And don't just take the first job that comes along. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe some of these women are going, are scared. Oh, I want this job, and takes the job when they could pitch and say, I want 75 grand, I want 100 grand. It might take 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 interviews before you get a job. I think it's just a load of shit. By the time a woman reaches her mid-40s, the average pay gap has increased to 23%, according to government data. To counter that trend, Massachusetts, in a first for the country, passed a law prohibiting lawyers from asking job candidates about their past salary. So now, this is a law that's been passed. An employer cannot ask a job candidate about their past salary. So what did they work from? If that person comes in and says, I'm worth 150 grand, when really they're worth 70 grand, they have to sit and work out whether this person is really worth that money. You know, this is one of the things I think there's going to piss a lot of people off in the future. And there's going to be a lot of people, I think a lot of men as well, who are going to set up their own little businesses and not going to employ women. I know a friend of mine, it's just him and another guy at work together. And they deliberately, especially when they've been, let me tell you the story quickly. He decides to employ a young girl. She was about 19 or 20. And it's him and his colleague in the office. Now, he brought her in the hope that she'd be able to take the phone, do a little bit of typing, a bit of organisation, and take it off the hands of the other guy that's in the office. Because he comes into the office, but he's not always in the office, blah, blah, blah. Now, he gave specific instructions to his colleague. Look, she's a young girl, she doesn't have much experience. Keep an eye on her. Make sure, check that she's okay. So he did that. Every so often he would turn around and look and see if she's okay, smile, make sure she was okay, and maybe even go up and say, are you okay, and all this kind of business. Just, he was doing what he was instructed to do. A week later, he was at home. He got a phone call from his colleagues, and he said, "Yeah, what's the problem?" And the guy said, "You've got to get in here quick. There's a situation going off here with this girl that you've employed." I said, "Well, what's the matter?" "Just get into the office." So he came to the office, and the girl had come into the office with her job career advisor. So they were both sitting there, and the girl was glum as hell. And the job, when the guy turned up, he said, "Oh, to the career advisor, what's the problem?" The woman said, "The young lady here," a woman said, "The young lady here does not want to work for your firm anymore because she feels very unsafe." And the guy laughed. "What do you mean very unsafe? This is a work environment. There's nothing here that's dangerous." And the woman blatantly came out and said, "Well, she doesn't feel safe because of your colleague." I said, "Why?" Well, she said, "Your colleague has made her feel very, very nervous and unsafe in this environment. He keeps luring at her, looking at her on a regular basis, and she just feels very, very unsafe. At which point, the guy said, "Oh, listen, that was on the instruction of me." He said, "I asked him to keep an eye because she was young, inexperienced, and she needed help or whatever. Keep an eye on her." Well, the problem now is, even if the career advisor had any common sense, I don't know what she said, realised that this was a mistake. It was too late now. The girl didn't want to work there anymore. She obviously, because now she's embarrassed herself because she's a stupid bint. And he said, "Right, okay, well, there's the door. Get out of my office." And they both sorrowfully took their stupid asses out of the door. And so what he said to me was that taught him a lesson. He no longer employs any women in his office. He will not employ any woman in his office. If his business grows even further, he'll just have, obviously, guys working there, no more than 5 or 6, and keep it as low as that. Because unfortunately, this government is looking for ways to force people to employ women, and all you get when you employ women is problems. Seriously, you get nothing but problems. Even other women that employ other women, and they're the boss of the women, know what women can be a real problem at times. So, anyway, let's continue. So this stupid Massachusetts is the first in the country passed a law prohibiting employees from asking job candidates about their past salary. Fine, whatever. Rose, who at 46 earns nearly 40% less than Danilo, regrets not advocating for herself more early on. Women have to realise their worth and not be afraid to express it. That's my big takeaway. Well, that is your problem. Here we go. Look at this here. Lisa Joe, software engineers. She makes less at her company than he does, but he puts in more hours. I fought for my salary, she says, and I'm super glad I did. But she makes less at her company than he does, but he puts in more hours. Well, there's your explanation. If she's putting more hours than her, then that's her business. Listen, people, you don't have a right to a job in the company. You don't have a right. Nobody has a right. But if a company decides to employ people, and it moves from 1 or 2, 3 people, and it decides to earn 30, 40 people, 1,000 people, it decides to employ 5 to 10,000 people, why should it have to go through stupidity like this from idiots who think that they are owed a job? I just find it incredible. You see, this is the thing I don't like about these companies. She makes less at her company than he does, but he puts in more hours. He puts in more hours. That's why he earns more than her. Oh, here we go. The glass ceiling effect. So a guy came up with something like the glass ceiling effect. I can't remember about this stupid nonsense about the glass ceiling. Women, you want more money, you set up your own businesses. Honestly, set up your own business with other women. Set up your own venture capitalists with other women. Okay, and then you can pay yourselves exactly whatever you want. You can make yourselves CEOs. You don't have to rely on men. By all means, go and work in a job. Keep your head down. Work there for 4 or 5 years. And when you get enough money, you've saved up enough money, leave that company and set up your own company. and then you can make your CEO or above or whatever you want. Then you've gone through this class ceiling. Another reason the pay gap grows over time, women face more challenges moving up the ladder. So what? Everybody does. And when they do advance, says this Hig, whatever, Higwish, promotions don't always come with the same payout as men's. So what? In a survey of 1.8 million workers, and accounting for factors like experience, education, and company size, the salary site pay scale found that even after starting with similar titles, by age 35 to 40, men are 25% more likely than women to hold management roles, and 85% more likely to be vice president or C-suite executives. So what? As I said, if you women are pissed, you're not getting where you want to get to in the companies that you go and work for, like BP, like Execo, or all these companies, set up your own business. Nobody's stopping you from doing this. You can work for yourself. You can set up your own business. You can. Tracy Chung, 29, software engineer and co-founder of Project Include, which pushes for pay equity and diversity in the tech industry. Why should the tech industry employ more women? Why should the tech industry employ more black people? Why should the tech industry employ more Mexicans? Why should the tech industry do anything? The tech industry is an industry that has built itself over 80 or 90 years. It started off in Silicon Valley by two HP founders. So women feel that they can come along and just should be able to just step into any role, be given any role because they're women. Affirmative action. They've got no shame, no embarrassment. Says often that the barriers are invisible. Who cares? Some companies will say, okay, men and women at this level are getting paid equal. The question then is, are they all given the same opportunities to change levels? I've seen this in engineering, because to move up you have to work on the kind of projects that showcase your abilities, like managing complex systems and coordinating with other teams. And these assessments tend to go to people who fit the manager's mental model of someone who'd be good, which is not always a woman. Well, yes, you're right. It's not always going to be a woman. It could be a transsexual who might get that position. It might be generally another man. So what? Look at I'm finding that some of these Asian women seem to be getting very emboldened in talking shit out of their stupid asses. Look at that stupid. Let's move on, people, before I lose my temper. Said bitch who helped Glamour with this project first shook up Silicon Valley 3 years ago when she was a star at Pinterest. What star? What did she do at Pinterest? Did she invent Pinterest? If she did, I'd have kudos. I'd have respect for her. When she was a star at Pinterest. Okay, and challenged other companies to release data on their numbers of women engineers. About 260 have so far. Why did any of them? Why? A lot of it comes down to perception, she says, of the promotion gap. I used to have to. Listen to this, people. This is interesting. I used to have stuffed animals on my desk because tech companies are playful. But I realized people didn't take me seriously. Yeah, you put fucking stuffed animals on your desk and you want people to take seriously. That's the way the game plays. Listen, so I replaced them with my circuit textbooks, even though they were irrelevant. That's you, stupid. I started getting seen as being really hardcore. So, what's the problem with that? This happens to guys as well. Sometimes they're not taken seriously, and sometimes they have to do things like this to be taken seriously. Like a guy who's got not much muscles, who's not able to fight. Sometimes, in order to step up, you have to sometimes say, right, I'm not able to fight. I don't have much muscles. So I'm going to go and train in the gym. I'm going to go and learn how to box. I'm going to learn how to go and to do karate. I'm going to learn how to do wrestling. And so on and so on. So you up your game. You've just done that. You saw that your silly little stuffed toys didn't do you any good because you were seen as a child. Now you put some textbook and bang, people gave you correct kudos. I don't see the problem there. Here we go. These are software engineer agrees. I I I totally do that. Like being Android security textbooks, I would never read. I would never read to my desk. I think that's never. I would never bring to my. That's just totally shit. I totally do that. Like I totally do that. Like brings Android security textbooks. I would never read to my desk. Sorry. Okay. I totally do that. Like bring Android security textbooks. I would never read to my desk. Well, again, that's what you've got to play that game. That's part of the game. Okay? Men do it. So you would be doing the same thing. So what's the problem? Ads Rose. I am actually going to point out what I don't have on my desk. I'm actually going to point out what I don't have on my desk. Pictures of my kids. And that captures the gender pay gap. Biggest accelerant. Oh, God. Right, so let's see who this stupid witch is. Oh, I keep getting these horrible pop-ups. Let me just... You see, the thing is, guys, yes, and this is for men, because you women, I'm not interested in what happens to you guys. You can do your own damn, your own damn thing. I'm not. Let me just get into. Just cut that out of the way. Put that there. Here we go. Here we go. If the sound has gone a little bit choppy, I apologise. Right, let's go. Here we go. Let's scroll down here. Here's the old witch. Here we go. Here we go. Articles have been removed for whatever reason. Okay. Born in 1987. Jesus. Software engineer, advocate for diversity in her field. Why? You see, anyway, there's something related to that. The guy from Google who got booted out by Google because his view on diversity. Here we go. She's probably was part of that nonsense. I don't know. Anyway, she has prior work experience at Pinterest, Quantra, Rocket Fuel, Google, Google, and Facebook. She's best known for raising the profile of the issue of the low representation of women in tech companies. So what? And what? Should women just be put into these tech companies wholesale, regardless of their experience? Yes. affirmative action. That's what women want. And pressuring companies to reveal more statistics about the composition of their workforce. Why? I don't care if a company only has one black person working or no black people working for them. If you've started that company up off your own sweat and brow, why should you get a stupid bitch like her coming along telling you how you should employ people? Why did she set up her own company? She's busy jumping around going to all these companies, but she hasn't set her own business, full-grown business yet. Or has she? Okay. In 2006, she co-founded. Why didn't she just found it herself? The advocacy group Project include with 7 other women in the industry. Good. This woman is a daughter of computer scientists based in Silicon Valley who emigrated from Taiwan. So she's bringing her nonsense from Taiwan into the United States. She went to school in Mountain View and studied computer science at Stanford University with a specialization in machine learning and artificial intelligence. While studying at Stanford, she interned at Google, Facebook, Record Fuel, and went on to receive a master's. Describing her undergraduate experience in computer science, Chung has recalled feeling really out of place. I don't care. She stated that she felt less confident than her male colleagues at the beginning and took time to realize that she was outperforming most of them in coursework. So let's read that again. She stated that she felt less confident at the beginning and took time to realize that she was outperforming most of them in coursework. Okay. Even though she was studying computer science and enjoying programming, Chung did not seriously consider programming as a full-time job. Even over her intern as a programmer at Facebook, she was not considering becoming a computer software engineer. Instead, hoped to get her doctorate to do quantitative marketing research. However, in 2010, Quantra, which was then a small startup, approached her and convinced her to start working as an engineer there. So she joined them, but left in 2011 to join Pinterest, becoming one of the first 50 employees at the fledgling company. I mean, in 2015, she signed on as a consultant for the United States Digital Service, a consulting with technology practitioners trying to make government in the United States more efficient. Complete shit. In 2015, TechCrunch reported that Chung is a featured maker at MakeBase, a service that makes it easier for anyone to discover and who built some of the most hold on a minute, is a featured maker at MakeBase, a service that makes it easier for anyone to discover who built some of the most popular websites and apps people use every day. Look, I mean, this is all very well and good. Okay, she to facilitate sharing of the responses received separately on code sharing site GitHub, which allows anyone to submit a pull request. Look, you see, if this woman apparently is such a brain huge, look, she's more intelligent. She's way more intelligent than me. I'm not saying that. But if this woman is so intelligent that she was supposedly outperforming some of her colleagues in that class, it could be that particular year or those guys that were not particularly intelligent. Let's be honest. Okay, they may not have been the best of the crop. of that particular time. Maybe but what I'm saying is, if she's such that good, why hasn't she built a business like Microsoft? Why hasn't she built like Apple? Why hasn't she built a business like HP? Why hasn't she built a big business? She hasn't, because it's all bullshit. It's all nonsense. Let's get away from that stupid hag. Let's get away from that. Let me just. So let's get back to. Oh God, I'm going to try and pause this. Yeah, I can't pause it. What's going on with this thing? Anyway, so she helped with the glamour with who helped glamour with this project. First shook up Silicon Valley 3 years ago, where she was a star at Pinterest and challenged other companies. Look, Pinterest is a load of shit, man. It's not a Twitter. It's rubbish. And other companies to release data, blah blah blah. And there we go. So I'm not interested in all. That's just a load of rubbish, honestly. So let's keep going. So the mummy penalty. So here we go. Rose and Daniello are a pair of social media specialists. So these are social media specialists. I mean, you could be earning anything from the 70 grand or below and above. I mean, there we go. Have a lot in common. He was born in Ecuador and emigrated at the age of 10. She's the daughter of Jewish, here we go. She's the daughter of Jewish parents who were forced out of Egypt. So look, this woman's already got a card. She's Jewish. You know, this guy came from Ecuador. He's not even, so this woman is Jewish. She has already an advantage. Both were among the first in their families to get college degrees. And both the parents. Danilo has a 5-year-old son and another son on the way. And Rose, who split from her husband, not surprising, there we go, 4 years ago, is also raising 2 boys, now 12 and 14, the younger of whom has special needs. My second son, I took about 2 years off, and even though I freelanced and networked and kept up on the industry, I felt like I had to start all over again. She says, 10 years ago, when I worked at major corporations, I was making more than I am now. But I had to take a big step back into a smaller company closer to home. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is the thing that really annoys me. All the answers are here. So she said she had children. She was earning far more than she was earning more now. But she took that decision to have children with her husband. Okay. Now she's split from her husband. She still has children. Does she regret having those children? I don't think so. Or maybe she does regret. She's regretting having the children. Maybe she should have had an abortion. But look at this. But she said, 10 years ago when I worked, I was making more than I am now. But I had to take a step back into a smaller company closer to home. I mean, so what? These are the choices that you make in life. Either you don't get married, you don't have any children, and you work until you're 50 or 60, and then maybe get married, if you can, married and have children at the age of 65. If you're lucky, you find a 30-year-old guy who's willing to marry you and impregnate you and you can have children. Great. There's a woman who left her business retired from here in the UK, 64. She went to America, somewhere in America, went to a sperm bank and got artificially inseminated with a child. She's now pregnant, 60 odd years of age. I think that's personally, this is, and look, this is the reason why I'm saying to men out there, stop giving your sperm out to these women. Your sperm is at least worth £1,000 to £2,000. You need to stop doing that. Men need to stop doing that, really do. Because these women don't appreciate it. They don't appreciate you. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Because they don't want to have a relationship with men. She doesn't want to have a relationship with men. Or rather, she's too old and wrinkly to have a relationship with men. So she just wants to go and get sperm from someone else and put into her body. She shouldn't be allowed to do that. Men, these sperm clinics should be shut down. If women want sperm, they either do it the traditional way, or they go and find a homosexual man who's willing to give her sperm, and that's entirely up to him for free, if he wants to do that. So here we go. She expected to make more than her 70 grand salary, but seeing that actual number, she said 140 grand. Like what? So what? So what? So what? I'm not interested in your nonsense. I don't care. All kinds of research shows that mothers take a wage hit. A study from the University of Massachusetts pegs it to a 4% penalty per child, with low-income women affected the most. That's partly the result of time out and missed hours, according to research by Goldin, PhD, an economics professor at Harvard, who followed women with BAs and found that even mothers who took short maternity leaves saw their wages decreased sharply 3 or 4 years after the birth of their first child. Again, you're having a child. So sometimes, if you're not able to do the overtime that you were doing before you had the child, because now you're saying, look, I've got to get back home because I've got the child that I've got to do, and you're not willing to do the 3 or 4 hours that overtime you were doing before, of course it's going to drop. After the birth of their first child. Other studies point to outright bias. When Cornell University researchers sent resumes for 2 fictional applicants, equivalent in every way except that one was a mother, to 638 employees who posted job openings, the childless women received more than twice as many callbacks as their mums. Oh, Jesus gosh almighty! I was expecting them to say that that men, it was to do with men. But the point is that women, it doesn't matter whether they had children or not. They were bringing back the childless women. They don't want the mothers because they know that they've got children. They want the women who don't have any children. God almighty. You just can't seem to win. In similar experiments, evaluators recommended salaries for mothers applying for positions at 10,000 less than for non-mothers. Rose says she expected that kind of attitude. I've seen men in my industry move up, and I haven't, even though I was so much more qualified. Here we go. When I got pregnant, I was taken off projects. Wasn't included in meetings. It was incredible. So, even more incredible, when men have kids, then earning tends to increase. All three of the studies found a daddy bonus. Employees see fatherhood as a sign of stability, responsibility, and commitment, the researchers conclude, but didn't feel the same about motherhood. I'm not even thinking about children. This, whatever, I'm not even going to pronounce her bloody name. A 23-year-old cashier at a beauty retailer told the group, I don't have the money for that. Fine. That's your prerogative. You can do what you damn well please. You know, wait until you're 50 or 60 before having kids. Flexibility, flexibility. So look at this. They said only one person was earning more. She's getting $11 an hour. So she's getting 12. He's getting 11. So she's getting more than she. This woman and our cashiers. She's at a beauty salon and he's at a cafe where he also earns tips, which makes their pay about equal. Either way, it's not enough, she says. Something's got to give, which is what? Fucking look at it. Another key reason mothers' salaries take a dip, they need to work from home or control their hours. Yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles. You have children, that's the price you pay. In many professions, Goldin found that in her research, employees place a premium on working at specific hours and continuity. For example, paying a 70 hours per week employee more than twice what they would pay him or her to work 35 hours. A key factor in today's pay gap. Exactly. Overtime. I want to be there for my daughter who's 4. If I have to bring her to the doctors, if I have to bring her to the doctors, but I make up all that time by working at night, who cares? Who performs her data and analyst job from home? And I don't think companies should expect people to be there at a certain time, as long as the job is done. Do you know, that is the dumbest bunch of fucking bollocks I've heard in my entire life. And I don't think companies should expect people to be there at a certain time as long as the job is done. Okay, so if an engineer is given a job to go out and fix a customer's phone system that stopped working 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and he goes to himself, no, I'm not going to go there now. I'm going to go there at 6 o'clock before the company closes. Okay, because that's when I really want to go. I don't want the company telling me what time I should go. I should go there at 5 or 6 o'clock. That's just complete bullshit. Because he goes there, 5 or 6 o'clock. He sorts out the problem, which might take him 2 or 3 hours. But then that means that employee has to stay over time, waiting for them to fix the problem, when they should have turned them at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. This is just bullshit. Honestly, this is utter complete nonsense. Then you've got this stupid hag. I'm not going to pronounce the name. I can't be bothered. You can do it yourself. Here it is. I'm not cause myself stress. Needed flexibility because she's going to school for an MBA. Here we go. So she got a job that pays £12 an hour. Her counterpart, Aaron, makes about the same, working the register at a busy cafe for £11 an hour plus tips, while trying to grow a food truck business. There you go. This guy is trying to grow his own business. He's trying to set up his own business. Okay. He's not sort of thinking, I need to go to university and nonsense. He's trying to set up his own food business. Their side hustles may help them eventually earn a more livable wage, but for many women with low wage jobs, a pay gap can make the difference between living above and below the poverty line. Uh, Whatever her name, can't imagine life long term like this. To be on cash grab for 5, 6 hours a day, standing on my feet, she says, something's gonna give. That's what they call work, you silly bitch. Oh, here we go. Yeah, color barrier. Oh my god. Here we go. This is what I told you at the very beginning. Simi, 27, one of our sales executives, was born in Nigeria and went on private to attend private school in the United States, studied biomedical engineering in college, and started a foundation to design solar incubators for developing countries before landing her six-figure job at a large tech firm. So here we go, and start a foundation to design. What's happened about that foundation? She's just giving up on it. Um, she decides to get a job instead. Somewhere in there, she was also a beauty queen. Jesus, fuck, Jesus, sweet bloody Christmas. Where was she? If you see the girl, you want to vomit. Honest to God, you'd really want to vomit. Anyway, let's continue. But like whatever that stupid girl's name, she's statistically likely to face a bigger pay gap than her peers. She's likely, but I tell you this: when you hear the nonsense that this woman goes through, it will come. Anyway, let's continue. African American women, but she's not African American. She was born in Nigeria. All right, she's American. Working full time earn 12% less than their white counterparts, even with the same education. Depends on what your education is, who you're educated, blah blah blah, and make only 66. So it's 66 cents to every dollar white men earn. Oh God Almighty! You know, white men. Listen, this is starting. This is the reason why Donald Trump was brought in, because the white man has had enough of stupid fucking white bitches, stupid black bitches, and every other bitch on this planet talking shit about them. They had enough. And they decided to bring in the big white dog, Donald Trump. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them, honest to God. Let's continue with the nonsense. According to a report by Economic Policy Institute, Hispanic women make even less, 58 cents. Right? What about Hispanic men? Oh, here we go. Government figures show race affects men too. Hispanic males make 69 cents to the white male dollar. I've felt a bias, Dana says. Like, if my name was Jim, maybe I would have a higher title. So what? Maybe. You say maybe. And you said you felt a bias. I don't think so. I think you're earning quite well, mate. You should stop the bitching and just get on with your life. Don't be worrying about other people's nonsense. When people see this name on a resume, said whatever it's called, you can tell who I am. My professor, a woman of color, said maybe you should put down Deja, or whatever we call it, DG. Don't put Bronx, put New York. So here you go. To get into jobs, you're having to lie your way into jobs. So remove part of your name. Don't put that you're from Bronx. Just say you're from New York. And it's so unfortunate, But I'm like, you are gonna get me for me, but you are gonna get me for me. Simi's more pragmatic. If you want to climb the ladder, you kind of have to conform. That's the way the world works. That is some common sense. If you want to climb the ladder, you have to conform. That's the way the world works. Bit of small, little bit of intelligence there. Of course it is. You want to constantly rail against the world. That's your business. You see the way that that Simi is the Nigerian black girl, but the other black girl goes, but I'm like, you are gonna get me for me. This is the problem with the black community, black women's attitude, black American women's attitude. I'm going to do something about that later, talk a video about that later on. Let's continue. In fact, for young black women with college degrees, the wage gap has grown since 2000. We tried to look at everything that could explain the difference: education, experience, location, occupation. But even considering all these factors, there is a discrepancy, says study author Valerie Wilson, PhD. Every way we slice the data, discrimination is still there. Let's wonder why. Let's look at, for young black women with college degrees, the wage gap has grown since 2000. You know what? I tell you, the reason why it's grown? Because nobody wants to employ them. Because black women are horrific. It's as simple and as pure as that. Black women are horrific. I'll do another video about it. And the funny thing is, we still don't know what the wage cap for the average black man is. We know the man is $1. We know everybody else is higher. So, but we don't know what the average black man is, which is quite interesting. Not really. It's the way it is. Black men get pushed to one side all the time. Anyway, Simi knew these statistics before the salary showdown with her white male match, Tony, and he's formidable. A year older, he works in sales at a tech platform. But when they flip the cards, Simi's number, a package worth about 140 grand, trumped Tony's at 120 grand. Boom, the stupid, silly little bitch said quietly. Curveball, he said back. The geezer didn't lose his collective shit. That's it, Look at the state of it. I don't know whether that's her natural hair or whether that's weave. But there you go. There's the silly bit. Quietly says, boom. She said quietly. Look at this guy. He's not looking shit. He's getting about his business. He doesn't give a shit whether she's earning more. Here you go. Sales executive. While earnings depending on their success, if you compare packages from their two companies, she's ahead. Now here you go. I worked with a negotiation coach, she says. Best investment ever. So you see, this girl realizes that in order to move ahead, you have to negotiate your wage. And if you have bollocks and you have a bit of common sense, this is where you're going to make the money. Okay? You have to negotiate. If women are not willing to negotiate, that's your problem. I don't care. Simi's success isn't an accident. She has fought hard to get ahead. She's the only one that's fought hard, nobody else. Well, yeah. She's the earning the highest, so she has. And was willing to share her secret sauce with the others. I worked with a negotiation coach, she revealed. In my previous job, she helped me gain 20 grand on the initial offer. And in this one, it was maybe 10 grand. Hiring her was really good investment. A really good investment. I said that a second time. A new study in the Harvard Business Review shows that while women are 11% less likely to negotiate their pay than men when they choose to go for it, half the time they get a better offer. In our own poll of 300 women, 71% of the women who asked for a pay rise said they got it. So this is the point. If you don't ask, you don't bloody get. So what's the problem? 11% are less likely to negotiate than men. So what? That's them. It's your problem. Do you want government regulations to now come in and do all sorts of nonsense? Because that's what these people want. In fact, I think some people want negotiated pay to be completely outruled. But you know what? The pay gap will still exist. And do you know why? Because women will not do the overtime. It's as simple and as pure as that. A new study in the Harvard, I've already read that. My coach taught me that if you say I have great communication skills or I'm a team player, nobody cares. Simi says you need to tell a story, an anecdote of something specific you've done. She also said that if you start with small talk at the beginning of the negotiation conversation, you have a much better chance of being successful. Yeah, everybody knows that. Another part of negotiating is asking for a lot of things that you don't even want. So just be a cunt and ask for anything you want. Just ask for anything you want. And you don't need it really, because they'll go, fine, we won't give you this, but we'll give you that, etc., etc. I wish this video would play, but it's not for whatever reason. Let's continue. Lisa, the engineer, had her own story. When I got my initial offer, I was like, ooh, I think they are lowballing me. I scoured the internet for advice and was super nervous. But the fact that I came in, a girl right out of college, and asked, how many options will I get? What's the strike price? How many total shares outstanding? I really diluted. I wasn't even 1% sure of what all that meant. Exactly. She just read off parrot fashion, remembered to talk shit. That is what job's about. Sometimes you have to dish it up a little bit to get what you want. But you better make sure that you can deliver when you get that job. You better make sure. I wasn't, and there we go. But they were like, holy shit, we can't mess with her now. This is just bullshit. If they're going to take you, they'll take you. If they're not going to take you, they're not going to take you. You can't force them to give you a job. The interview is there to place yourself at their mercy and beg for that job. And if they want you, they'll take you. If they don't, they won't. That's how it works. And when they added 20 grand to my offer, it was a big win. I was like, yes, I can do this. Everyone in the room that day was fired up, agreeing that we have to talk more openly. All the hesitation I had about revealing my salary was swept away because this is such an important conversation, said Eric. Tony too. I've got a very tangible sense of what I don't have to think about. This guy is a wuss. This guy is a simp. Just listen to this, Tony. I got a very tangible sense of what I don't have to think about. Class, gender. When I walk into the office. Man, you got toasted. She earned 20 grand more than you. So what are you worried about? You know, what are you worried about? So the issue is this. So here we go. So now, he says, so now, how do I change it for other people? You don't have to change it for anybody else. Everybody has to look after themselves. Okay? Men look after themselves and get on with the job. Women have to look after themselves and get on with the job and fight their own fight. Talking about it definitely helps. And then this, oh, Jesus Christ, this woman's name, Nurul, came away inspired by the other gutsy women. She went home and told her husband. Okay, listen to this. She went home and told her husband, what if I said something at work about a raise? Are they going to fire me for being demanding? I don't think so, she recalls. Why would they? Just because you ask for a raise in the company, they're not talking about firing. And sometimes they'll actually see that as a person who, if especially if a company knows that person is doing pretty well in the company, why would they want to give you any more money? But if you go and ask them, say, look, I'm looking about, I need some more money, that sometimes can be an indication of the company that they may be worried that you might up and pick up. If you're a valued member of that company, and you've actually come to ask for a rise after maybe 6, 7, 8 years, and they know that you're valued, and they know that they may be worried that you might be thinking of leaving, they will say, all right, we'll give you a pay rise. That's it. But if they don't value you, or they don't think that you're a very good member of the company, they won't give you any. They'll say, fine, if you want to go, go. So, are they going to fire you? That's what they say. For being demanding. But you see, the thing is, you can ask. Anyone can ask a question. You cannot demand. You can't say, I want a pay rise. What you can do is going, oh, I've been here for 10 years. Is there any possibility of a pay rise? You can ask. You can't demand. Lisa and Simi are much younger than me, and they had the courage to do this. To hear them, it was awesome. It's bullshit. The reason they did preparation, they did their preparation, and they did their work. And they do what men do, which is go in and ask for a pay rise. If you're not able to do that, that's your problem. And this particular girl, I'm not going to pronounce her name, who will graduate in June, is about to start her career with a whole new vision. I'm so motivated, she says. As a girl of 6 and 7, she revealed she'd spent 2 years in a homeless shelter. I used to think if I could just get 30 grand, that would be the most money in the world. But to be in that room, seeing people who made 6 figures and so young, it meant everything, she calls. I really walked out with, it's possible, and it's possible for me. And that is the point. These people aren't poor. Especially those women are not poor. But they're bitching. Let me tell you something. Listen, I need to break this up. Something's going on. But anyway, I hope you see that this video is this whole thing. Go to the website. It's I'll tell you what it roughly is. It's the big salary reveal. I've got to go. Bye bye.